So many times we think it's the education, the execution, and the win. Sometimes it's the education, the execution, and the adversity that comes in your way that builds the grit, builds the strength that actually gets you the success you want. Welcome back to the Own Your Future podcast, behind the scenes. This time we're going to talk about Joe Stumpf, our guest from last week. Oh my God, was that powerful. If you didn't see it, go listen or watch it right now. You might not know Joe Stumpf. He is known deeply in the industry in which he is one of the top coaches in the world in the real estate industry. But this is a guy who's a deep thinker. This is a guy that gave me the gift of the 7 levels deep over 15 years ago to truly find my why. I hired this guy as a consultant to help me create deeper memberships within my company, to help me get my students more results, because he obsessed on the stickiness of changing lives and community. So many of you are a part of community. You're a part of memberships. You're part of Mastermind, our community. If you're not, you should be. This guy's specialty was to get people engaged and to stay with you. So I hired him as a consultant. Come in there, came and waited. It was $10,000 for a half a day. I was waiting for him to give me some immediate tactics. And he said to me, "Do you know your why?" I'm like, "What? I want to know how to serve my people more." He said, "Do you know why you hired me? And do you know the why of your students?" He said, "You should have your students do the 7 levels deep to truly find out why they want to do what it is they're doing with you." I said, "Great, give me it." He said, "No, I got to go through it with you." So this is the guy almost 15 years ago that sat there and asked me 7 different times when he first started and said, "Why did you hire me for 10 grand for a half a day?" I think I said something like, "I want to step up the results. I want to lean into, I want my students to have more results. I want them to stay. I want them to transform their lives." He's like, "Great, that's a good reason to hire me. Why do you want to do that?" And I remember I said something like, I want to raise the standards of this industry to a whole nother level. And he's like, "Great, that's it. Why?" I think I said, "I want to leave a legacy," or something along those lines. I don't even know what I said the next time. But in the interview, you hear Joe say the 5, 6, and 7. The 5, 6, and 7 is the 5th, 6th, and 7th time somebody asked you that why. And I'd encourage you, if you've already done it, do it again. If you've never done it, do this. Why are you listening to this? Why do you want to make more money or have more abundance, more joy, more purpose, more passion? Why do you want to be in the self-education industry or scale in this industry or whatever industry you're in? Long story short, I don't remember what I said a couple of times, but I remember when I got to question 5, I said, "I never want to go backwards." Ooh, I was like, I never said that before. What the heck is that? I thought about my mom struggling and not having lunch money and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't want to go back there. Ooh, my physiology started to change. My emotions started to change. I got those tingles, the hair standing up on your arms. And he's like, "That's great, Dean. That's number 5. Number 6 is, why don't you want to go backwards?" I remember thinking this at first. I'm like, am I really doing this in front of him and everybody? And then I got emotional thinking about my kids. And I came out and said, I want my kids to have choices. Those of you that are parents are listening or watching, you know what I'm talking about, right? You want your kids to, not spoiled, entitled, but choices. And I thought about that. He's like, "That was only number 6. I could tell you're getting emotional, but we got to get to the final one, the 7th time. Why is that important to you?" And it just blurted out of my mouth. I said, "I want to be in control." And I don't mean to control freak or control others. I want to be in control of my decisions. I want to be in control of my calendar. I want to be in control of the things I do. I love being a dad. I love helping coach Little League or coach softball or be with my daughter, be with my older son or my 2 little ones, or date night with my wife and be able to take them to school every morning. The thought of not being able to leave when I need to be with my children or my wife, the thought of not being able to take them to school, or I can't go to a game because someone else is in control of my calendar and said they can't, that feels like death to me. And I started thinking, I wasn't in control when I moved 20 times by the time I was 19. My parents were married 9 times between them to different people, always moving, always different parents, different grandparents, all this stuff. And I felt so out of control that I work hard every day to just be in control of my calendar. Again, not in control of other people. Now that's my why, but it all came from this guy, Joe Stump. And we went so deep on things like, what is the difference between a victim and a survivor? Think about that. I really liked his catch on it. You got to check on this and how he grew this business. But he grew by impacting others. Think victim versus survivor. All of us can have things, including me, all of us have things happen to us. And you can be the victim of that, or you could be the survivor. Survivors fight to use that as leverage, to use it to overcome. Victims can sometimes get stuck. So make sure you watch that terminology in your mind. And he talked about the importance of the right language. Give it a name. Give it a process. Oh, that's a victim word. I'm not going to leave that in my vocabulary. Oh, that sounds like the survivor that I want to be, right? Sometimes the combination, he said, of adversity and education is actually where your success lives. So many times we think it's the education, the execution, and the win. Sometimes it's the education, the execution, and the adversity that comes in your way that builds the grit, builds the strength that actually gets you the success you want. For those of you ready to go to another level in your self-education industry, adversity is going to happen. But the mindset we have around it, the why we want to create impact, more income, more passion, more purpose, more success enough, more freedom to take ownership of your calendar, your decisions. If we fight through that adversity, that's where our next level of life lives. And he loves calling it, which is true, is this is doing the private work. This is the work we do when no one's watching. Yeah, we can learn the marketing strategy. Tony and I teach the best. We can learn how to sell what you know. Tony and I teach the best. You should all be a part of mastermind.com if you're not. But if we don't do the private work, a lot of times I go down the path of personal development and success strategies inside your head, because without that, we give up. We focus on what's wrong rather than what's right. We focus on what we lost rather than what we have. We focus on obstacles, not opportunity. If we do the private work, we anchor in our why. We know that adversity is part of it. You gain the skills from somebody like Tony and I that have been doing it for 72 years between the two of us, then there's no stopping you. Thanks for being a part of the Own Your Future behind the scenes, where we just recap the week before. Make sure you go listen to the whole interview with Joe Stump. It was fantastic. Make sure you share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe, like, leave me a message, ring the bell, do whatever it takes to help us get this message out to more people. We'll see you next week.